Are you this person? You have trained with a personal trainer, or you've went to the gym, or you've done something physical, and you've done it on a regular basis. And what you've done is you've listened to the fitness professionals and everybody that surrounds you talking about calories, and it's about calories in versus calories out, and it's about eat less, move more, and it's about tracking and measuring how many calories you eat. It's about keeping the numbers low so you can eat more, so you can snack through the day, and it becomes like a maths equation. Your life becomes like a maths equation, doesn't it? You're thinking, you're reading the labels, well, that's got 450 calories on it, and then you're tallying it all up, and you're using MyFitnessPal to do the calculations. You're maybe working with a PT, and your PT's saying, okay, for you and what you're trying to achieve, we need you 1,600 calories or lower, or 1,400 calories or lower, whatever it is. And that is so common. It is so common, it's quite unbelievable. And I beat the other drum, and I'm coming on to Feel It Be, and I'm saying to you, there is a different way. Please don't count calories. Please don't weigh your food. Please don't worry about how many calories are in each thing that you're eating and tally the numbers up. I don't want you to worry about that. I only want you to concentrate on my meal plans for a reason. And there is nobody can tell this any better than Dr. Robert Lustig. So together, so as I know you've got your eyes on this, we are going to watch it together. And isn't it a shame that there's only 56 people out of 500 and odd watching this? Isn't it a shame? Now, I know that you say to me, oh, I'll watch it back when I'm blah-de-blah, but do you? I would rather see you live with me so as I know that you've got this information, because it's absolutely vital, it's crucial. And it's not just crucial for you, it's crucial for your child, your children, your people that are watching you, the kids that you teach, the people that you socialise with. It's crucial for all of those people. And if you don't get the information, they're not getting it. So how is the information going to get to them? It's definitely not, and I know that, right? So, see the carbohydrates that you think are carbohydrates, which are, every single carbohydrate gets turned to sugar in the body. You have to understand that. It doesn't mean that you have to eat white table sugar to increase or to raise your blood sugar level. Any carbohydrate that you eat does that. Pasta, rice, potatoes, some vegetables, most vegetables actually, because they're carbohydrate too. They have the fibre buffer, but they're full of, well, they are carbohydrate. They're rich in vitamins and nutrients. Amazing. However, they're carbohydrate. And we have lots of them. But just remember that carbs turn your, or increase your blood sugar level. Another thing I need you to understand at this stage, before we go into this, is in response to your body eating these carbs and your blood sugar level increasing, your pancreas secretes insulin. That's a hormone that's responsible for bringing blood sugar down to ensure that you can actually go about your day and you don't have a hypo or a hyper. It keeps sugar level down. And I really don't want to cover too much of that tonight. Just know that insulin is the hormone that's responsible for bringing blood sugar down and keeping you in a nice, safe level. Okay? So carbohydrates turns to sugar in the body, blood sugar elevation, and insulin is produced by the pancreas in response to you eating carbohydrate type foods, because it sends your blood sugar up. When you eat fat, good fats, and moderate amounts of protein, that doesn't happen. When you eat too much protein, it might happen. However, here's the last fact I'm going to tell you before we move on to this, and this is going to be amazing for you. There's a process in the body called gluconeogenesis. Now, people need to know, and you need to know, that every cell in your body burns glucose. Glucose is life. However, the fructose that goes together with glucose a lot of the time is the damaging part, the fructose. Now, there's fructose in fruit. which is why I say it's fine, but only if it's on the meal plan, not just when you fancy it. Glucose can be metabolised in every cell in the body, where fructose is only the liver. But in the absence of you eating any glucose, your body's really clever, it needs it, and so your body makes it. And it makes it from the fats and the proteins that you eat. So you don't actually need to eat glucose. Gluconeogenesis happens, and your liver can actually act on fat, and I'm saying act on to keep it simple, act on fat and proteins to make glucose. So you don't actually need to eat any. Okay, so let's pause there and let's go together into this. It's about 7 minutes, okay? And it's fascinating. And I need you to tune in and listen. And I'm going to simplify it even further when you come back, right? Get your partners round this. Get your partners might go to the gym. They might work with PTs. You might be a PT on here thinking, right, Shelley Booth, your business is, is doing well. I want some of that. And that happens a lot. So if you're a PT, listen. Here we go. This one.
To health.
Sorry.
That have.
Great. So cool. We'll get started, and I'll just have you introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Robert Lustig. I am a pediatric endocrinologist, so I study hormones in children. I am a professor in pediatric endocrinology at the University of California, San Francisco. I'm also a member of the Institute for Health Policy Studies here as well.
You kind of came to this profession through a winding path. Can you just give me the brief synopsis of that?
So I'm a neuroendocrinologist, which means I study how the brain controls hormones and how hormones control the brain. I started out actually studying sex differentiation of the brain. That was sort of my first research career. At about the time that the hormone leptin was discovered, I started taking care of patients with brain tumors. And those patients would become massively obese because of the damage that either the tumor or the surgery or the radiation caused.
What year were you talking about?
About 1995. At that point, trying to understand how to take care of these patients was really paramount. We had just discovered leptin, but the obvious answer was that these neurons that would normally transduce that signal in the brain, they were dead. So we had to figure out what was downstream of that we could influence to try to help them. And what we realized was that there was a connection between the brain and the pancreas, and that insulin, the energy storage hormone, was the driver of these kids' weight gain. So we started treating these patients with a medicine to block insulin release. And lo and behold, not only did they lose weight, but they started exercising spontaneously. And so what we realized from these studies was that the behavior was actually secondary to the biochemistry, and that when you altered the biochemistry, the behavior changed. And that was a very big insight back in, I would say, 1995. Then the question became, well, most people don't have brain tumors.
Right, so I've introduced probably most of my clients to this man. So you'll see a lot of people saying, oh, I love this guy, I love this guy. His work is phenomenal. It's just, he is a thought leader in this field. And we need to be listening, and we need to be listening really, really carefully. So what he's saying is it's the biochemistry of this is what he's going to get on. It's the biochemistry of the calories, and not the amount, not the number that they are, not the fact that they're a calorie. It's the fact of what they actually do. And what he's suggesting that we're seeing in children is fucking frightening. If you've got children, you need to be tuning right into this, whether they're 25 or whether they're 5, doesn't matter. Please listen.
Most people become obese for other reasons. And of course, everybody put it on gluttony and sloth, diet and exercise. You know, a calorie is a calorie. You are what you eat. Any calorie can be part of a balanced diet. All of these mantras of the food industry. But it became very clear that that really wasn't the case, because diabetes was actually going up faster than obesity was around the world. And that took me to the question of, was there something specific in the Western diet that was driving chronic metabolic disease? And that led me to sugar. And over the last 10 years, we've elaborated the specific toxicities, that is, the detriments to health that have nothing to do with sugar's calories and nothing to do with sugars causing weight gain, but due to the biochemistry of the molecule itself. So this is sort of my third research career as a metabolic physiologist.
There's so much there, but let's dig into the sugar portion. So beyond the calories, you've called sugar poisonous. Can you elaborate
In
on
high
that?
dose. Okay. So sugar is toxic in the sense that it proffers a specific set of biochemical alterations that are detrimental to human health, unrelated to its calories. In that respect, it is very much like alcohol. So, alcohol is not dangerous because of its calories, even though it's got 7 calories per gram. Alcohol is not dangerous because it causes weight gain. In fact, a lot of alcoholics are actually quite rail thin, yet they're very sick. Alcohol is dangerous because of the molecule, because of the inherent toxicity of the molecule, because of things that alcohol does and how alcohol is metabolized in the body. So when you consume alcohol, number one, some of it goes to the brain, and obviously we celebrate that effect, but obviously if you do that chronically and long term, you get brain damage. In addition, alcohol goes to the liver and is metabolized in the liver. The problem is that alcohol, when it's metabolized in the liver, when provided in excess, it gets turned into fat. And liver fat turns out to be the primary driver of chronic metabolic disease. So all of the diseases of alcohol, type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, and brain problems, we are now seeing in children. And they don't drink alcohol. But boy, oh boy, do they consume sugar. And it turns out that the molecule in sugar that is sweet, called fructose, so sugar is made up of 2 molecules, glucose and fructose. Glucose is the energy of life. Every cell on the planet burns glucose for energy. Glucose is so important that if you don't consume it, your liver makes it. It makes it out of fat, it makes it out of protein, a process called gluconeogenesis. So you don't have to consume glucose to live. You have to have a glucose level to live, but your liver will make sure that that happens, whether you consume it or not, which is why, for instance, the Inuit, the Rendili, the Tokelau, the Maasai, who don't consume carbohydrate, still have a blood glucose level, because your body makes it. Fructose, on the other hand, is completely vestigial to all human life, to all animal life. It is a remnant, it's a holdover from our prokaryotic or bacterial ancestry, our plant ancestry. We don't need it to live. We can live just fine without it. We do have the capacity to metabolize a limited amount of it, exactly the same way we have a limited capacity to metabolize a certain amount of alcohol. And when we go over that limit, our liver does exactly with fructose, exactly what it does with alcohol as well. And it turns it into liver fat and causes chronic metabolic disease. In addition, we are now learning that fructose gums up the workings of specific cells in the brain called glia, which feed neurons nutrients. And so also seems to have detrimental effects on the brain as well. So you can see that this is not because of calories. This is not because fructose has a caloric profile. It's because it has a biochemical profile which is very much akin to alcohol. And it is for these reasons that this molecule fructose, and therefore sugar, is toxic, unrelated to its calories. Sugar is the alcohol of the child. Children are getting the diseases of alcohol without alcohol. And the reason is because sugar is their alcohol, and we can't afford it.
That's amazing. And so let's talk about the effects that are going on. From your seat, from your profession where you're sitting, What is the state of?
Scary stuff, eh? I've been immersed in education all of my life, and through primary schools, secondary schools, and further in higher education. And I see the problem. I've seen the problem now for, 20 years of my career. But I still see the problem today, because we've got personal trainers and we've got teachers and we've got people in senior positions that don't understand this, that don't get it. A lot of the time don't want to get it. So just because of ignorance and not wanting to get it, these young people are going by the eat well plate, the food pyramid, the eat well plate, where healthy whole grains, they're not healthy. Where wheat and healthy whole grains forms the basis of what they eat. We have been missold the biggest, fattest lie ever for 50 years. And so many of you and so many people out there are living this. And it is a cycle that can't be broken until you're ready to listen. And I'm absolutely gutted because there's only 77 people on this. We need everybody on this. We need everybody's eyes getting this information at the same time, because it's powerful when you're on a live. It's really powerful because you're getting it there and then. When you're out walking, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine if you're working. But you're listening to it yourself and you know you're disconnected from everybody. If you can get on a live, please get on a live. This is crucial. Fructose is the alcohol of the child. However, you're an adult. And if you've been eating fructose, which is in absolutely everything, if you've been eating processed foods, look at the label, there's fructose in practically everything, from every condiment to every processed food that you'll peel the cardboard off and then the plastic, and then it sits in plastic and you shove it in the microwave, or it's in a jar or something, there'll be fructose in there. So you might not even drink. You might be skinny to the eye, you might be quite muscular. But metabolically, because of the way you've been eating and what you've been eating, and the biochemistry of what you've been eating, basically shit food. And it's not even food, it's stuff. It's food stuff. It's made in a factory, it's bleached, it's full of agents and bulking agents and basically chemicals, to the point that you can't even read what it says on the labels, because you're like, right, there's like 25 letters, right, chlorofluorofluorofluor. You can't even say it. But yet we feed our kids it. And you eat it because it's only 140, 250 calories, 400 calories, whatever it is. So we're living in an age where we've got the information. People like him, I've learnt for, 18 years off this guy. We've got people like him and others doing incredible research and bringing it back. But yet we've still got people who just want to take your money and your 35 quid an hour and tell you should be in a calorie deficit and you can eat rice. Well, what does the rice do to blood sugar? It sends your blood sugar through the roof. What does bread do? Bread spikes your blood sugar more than white table sugar. So when you're eating all these things that I've said that aren't on our meal plan for this very reason, and you go, why? Why am I not allowed a bagel? What about a low-fat bagel? These are the reasons why. It's not the calories, it's the biochemistry of what that processed food is actually doing to you. Forget the numbers. I don't care about the numbers. That's why you're saying to me, so how do I know how big my portions are? Like, eat until you're full and don't overeat. Because when you eat good stuff, there's only so much good stuff you can eat. Which is why fruit juices and apple juices and fresh orange is not ever going to feature on any of my meal plans, because it's pure fructose. The fibre has been stripped out, has been heated. The good stuff has been boiled out of it. It's just pure fructose. So it's one of the worst things you can give to your kids. One of the worst. And it's one of the worst things you can have as well. When you're on your holidays, you think you're treating yourself and you get the fresh orange and you're walking up back to your table, you feel dead chuffed because you're on your holidays, you've got a bit of a tan, you've got that feel-good thing. I'll sit and have my fresh orange, hits your liver, flood your liver, and the only thing your liver can do is turn it into liver fat. Okay, the next part I want to show you is the myth that we've all been sold. The saturated fat is the demon, and if you eat saturated fat, you're going to die, and it should all be about the calories. And actually, it's your fault if you're fat. It's your fault. You need to move more and you need to eat less. In fact, I got my bloods taken yesterday. This is exactly why I've framed this the way I have, because when I feel things, I think, oh, I need to tell them this. So the nurse was absolutely lovely. She was amazing. I got bloods taken for some insurance, some life insurance. And so she come out, really, really nice woman, and a wee bit overweight or whatever, and she was talking about that, and she was open about it, and she says, I know. She says, she didn't ask what I done, but she was in my mum's, so I thought my mum would maybe gender up on what I done, when she's sitting waiting, because I forgot I had her. And my mum says, Shelley, there's a nurse here for you. I thought, oh, fuck, right, I'll be there in 2 minutes. So I got there, and so she sat down, she went, I know, all I need to do is eat less and move more, I know. And this has been a nurse. She's been a nurse for, I think she says 30 years or something. That's a nurse. And that's not an isolated incident or conversation. I've trained many nurses who go to me, we don't get taught this. Doctors don't go through this with you. Doctors will tell you to eat healthy whole grains. And in fact, if you've got an elevated cholesterol panel that's not hereditary, they will tell you to go back and reduce your fat content and eat healthy whole grains, which I need to speak to you about in much more detail than that, because it's really, really important. But there's lots and lots of myths around that you actually live by, and it's scary for me, and I'm hugely passionate about it. I really am. I've got the burn in my heart to tell you this stuff, because I need to help you. So let me show you this next video that's only about 2 or 3 minutes. And I hope that the connection is good. It should be, it says it's good. Okay. It's not
Great.
that one.
So the effects that are going on, I mean, from your seat, from your profession where you're sitting, what is the state of pediatric, health and well-being in the United States?
Well, we have a problem right now in medicine in general. We have 2 camps. We have the camp that has been in charge, shall we say, for the past 45 years, and that camp has basically come down on the side of the premise that a calorie is a calorie, that it's all about the calories, that if you're overweight, it's because you either eat too much or you exercise too little or both. And it's just that simple. And it's just a simple math problem. And anyone can do the math, which allows, shall we say, ancillary service professionals to be able to do the math as well. But this is not about math. This is about science. It's not the physics of the calorie that's in question here. It's about the biochemistry of specific foodstuffs and how they are handled by the body that is in question here. And not everybody understands that science. So what we have now is a burgeoning new nutrition, if you will, that is basically upending the previously held premises, and there's a fight, a revolution, a bloodless revolution so far, but nonetheless a revolution within the field of nutrition and health. And right now it's reached fever pitch, in part because we have now learned that the food industry and the sugar industry has actually impacted in a very negative way the knowledge and the research that went on 45 years ago that led to this premise that it's all about calories, that it's all about saturated fat, that it's all about how much you eat and how little you burn. We now know that that was a canard. We now know that that was a mistake. And so getting people to back away from something that they've believed for 45 years is not easy to do.
Is it fair to call it a mistake, or was it more like a conspiracy?
which is why I'm here. This is exactly why I'm here. Getting people to back away from what they've been taught or what doctors have taught them in terms of, saturated fat, too much saturated fat is going to do this. It's all about the calories and you have to move more than you eat. And it's calories in, calories out. So if you eat, 50, 100 calories worth of broccoli and you eat 150 calories or the same amount of calories worth of jelly beans, then it's the same thing. Absolute nonsense and garbage, because broccoli doesn't come with it or doesn't have the hormonal impact as jelly beans do. The pure sugar and the glucose and the fructose, not necessarily the glucose, by the way. Glucose will send your blood sugar up, but the fructose, your body has to metabolize that, and in turn, your endocrine system has to deal with it. Glands produce hormones, the carriers of communication. So, that's a lot of information for your first educational life, but it really does set the scene for this. This is serious shit. I come on and I have a laugh with you. I really do. But this is serious. You have to give this the value and the time that it deserves and think, right, okay, I thought this was about a meal plan and about a few workouts. Actually, what he's done, he's conducted the research. I'm working with the people on the ground, implementing the research. And I'm proving that type 2 diabetes is reversed, that fibromyalgia goes, that depression goes, that metabolic syndrome goes, that obesity goes. I'm proving that that works by utilising this incredible body of research. And I've done it now for, 24, 25 years. And I can actually do it online now to anybody in the world, wherever they are in the world. How amazing is that? You don't need to meet me in the gym. You meet me here, wherever you are. It's incredible. It's hugely powerful. And you need to tell people in your lives that need this information, because they're not going to believe you. They are not going to believe you. And breathe. That's that, people. Well, we'll call it a day. That's a lot of information. The main takeaways is that a calorie isn't a calorie. Different food groups, you can't compare them to be like the same in number with the impact on the body. It's how they're metabolized. It's the biochemistry. It's how your body deals with them and reacts. Your body doesn't need to eat. You don't need to eat glucose because your body makes it from the fats and the proteins that you eat through a process called gluconeogenesis. We've talked about this for a long time. And fructose in the body, your liver has to deal with that, and fatty liver is what it's promoting. And children are experiencing symptoms and signs of alcoholic liver disease, alcoholic symptoms, because of what they're getting fed. It's not their fault. It's not even your fault. But when you know better, you do better. And that's why you're here. You're not here for a workout. You're not here for a meal plan. You're here for this stuff, and don't miss it. I don't want anybody messaging my team with information that I've covered before. Please. So are we allowed glucose then? The team are going to say to you, go back and watch Thursday night's live. That's what they're going to say. They're not going to give you a big spiel, because I've already covered it. You need to follow these lives. They're so important. And not only that, it gets you into the pattern of what Feel Look Be is. It's a plan. It's a prescriptive plan. And you should be following it. That's what you've paid for. I hold your hand right through the process, and the team back me up on that. But you have to do the work. You have to meet me halfway. Withdrawals. Withdrawals are real, aren't they? You might feel sick and woozy and your sleep patterns disturbed. You might be a wee bit moodier than you usually are. You could be constipated. You could be the other. There's a whole list of different symptoms that you might be feeling, and that's called withdrawal. See, making that switch from sugar to fat burner. It's definitely real. And some people feel it more than others. Some people are floored and some people are okay, they don't feel themselves, but I want to tell you, you're going to get through it and you're going to feel amazing. You have to stick with it, right? Stick with it. Bone broth, drink plenty, move lots. You've just heard it there. When the study that they done, they basically give children with these problems insulin suppressants. It's things that would suppress insulin. And what happened was when they give them that medication, it was proof that it was an insulin problem in response to actually what they were eating, of course. But the biochemistry changed and the behaviour changed afterwards. So the biochemistry, the insulin suppression changed how your body was working, basically, and that in turn changed the behaviour, and they started to want to exercise spontaneously. These were obese kids. They didn't want to move. They just wanted to play computer games and chill out in the house. But they wanted to. And the same thing is going to happen with you. You're going to want to move more. I'm giving you permission to move more. Move. Just move. And enjoy it. Smile. Listen to some good tunes. Get the lives on. Just smile, knowing that you're working yourself to a better you.